can see here, this is 1.8 meters long. It's hanging off the edge of my board here, so I can't possibly hand plane it in one stroke. I don't have the room to do that. So what we're going to do is I'll bring you in here and I'll show you a technique of hand planing where we actually just hand plane in small sections. We still get the entire thing flat by doing it, but we can actually just work in small sections, and I'll show you exactly the technique that we use for doing that. So come in here with me and I'll show you. So first of all, we obviously want to know which direction the grain's going, and in my case it's mainly going in that direction. There is a little bit of reversing, so I've got to be a little careful here. So we've got this hand planed, now we want to work on this section here. I roughly finished, it's kind of the end of it and the start of it, it's just here, so you can work into that section a little bit because it's still a little rough. So I'm going to come back about here and start. So let me just show you what I did there. I moved it along, and then just as I reach that line I start to lift it and kind of almost rock it off the back here. And so it's a lift out method, so you come along and you lift it out and it just feathers the shaving, and so you don't shave into this section, you only do the section that you want. Let me show you that again. I'm skipping the tops here, so I'm just going to work my way along. And then I like to go from left to right each time I do it. So we do it again. And so I've slowly moved into where that line is. I can still see I've got a little bit of the line there, so I'm going to do one more pass until that little touch of the line is gone. And now this section here is smooth, and we didn't actually touch the smoothing over here. And so that technique is, as you're planing, you just start to lift it. Now, it doesn't really matter how aggressively you lift it. If you're taking a thin shaving like I am here, you can just take it and it doesn't really matter. If you're taking a thick shaving, this process doesn't work so well, and you might have to find another way of doing it. It's really only with the smoothing plane where you're taking a thin shaving. This here is, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of a millimeter, something like that, so it's actually a fairly thin shaving. And so it allows you to come along and lift, and you can work your way along a board. And then you can come in and check it, and it will actually be the same, because what you've tried to do is take the same amount of shavings in each section. 2 or 3 passes, 2 or 3 passes, 2 or 3 passes, and if you were worried about that after that, you could somehow work out to do a pass, but I wanted to show you here how you can do this without actually having the space to do it. As I showed you down here, this is leaning off, so I can't actually hand plane. My workbench is only 1.8 meters all the way along here, and I've got this bench here that causes problems for me, so I have to angle a board even at 1.8 meters just to fit it in here so I can get the hand planing. And then I have to turn the board this end round to the other end to hand plane it. And that's the technique of actually just working in small sections to get the job done. And so as you can see there, this is just a quick one today, but it's a vital hand planing technique to know, especially if you're not only working with smaller parts, but you want to start working with longer parts and you don't really have the room to do that. I know I don't, and that's why this technique works very well. The other area where a technique like this can work for you is if you've just got a little raised area, maybe in the center or something, and you need to remove it. That same technique stops you from pushing into areas that you don't want to. Or if you're coming in to deal with a little bit of tear out with a very, 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 very fine set hand plane just to tackle that tear out with a very tight mouth and all of that, that same technique can be used there, just to take that very skim pass that you're looking for. Now, some of you might say that it doesn't work. I've had no problems with it working, and I've found that it leaves your project nice and flat all the way through in these sections, and Generally, you might not notice it because a project like this, I'm going to be chopping this down into sections, so you're not even going to notice that it's done. And that is another way that you could approach it if you have work pieces that are too long. You could cut them into their small sections and then hand plane them. But I just wanted the consistency of finish before I chopped this up into some shelves, as I said, for back here. And it's just easier to do it as one long piece, and it's just quicker to do it that way as well. So if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing down below. Please sound off in the comments. Comment on anything, it doesn't really matter. It's just great for the algorithm to have you comment. If you've got some comments about what I've shown you here today, great. If not, tell me how your day is. And if you'd like to see another great video such as the one you've seen here today, please consider checking out the one up here where I show you how to convert the blade of a smoothing plane to make it a rough removal plane. Bye for now.